Hey, we're back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show, our final segment of the day. Nancy Husselman is here from the Eddy County DWI Task Force. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sitting here checking emails, getting frustrated with people.
I thought I knew what I was going to talk about when I came in here, and there's so much going on. I'm not even sure I remember what I was going to talk about.
Well.
We were talking about masks and things a minute ago, and
Yeah.
And then this young man comes in, and we're talking about wires and cables, and I'm going, my brain's swimming. I have no idea.
I know, and I apologize for that.
No, that's no problem. It just fascinates me.
Well,
This all just fascinates me.
It is fascinating, and it's stuff that, when I first started in radio, pictures? What are you talking about? We didn't do the pictures, we did the radio. And there's some things that we still use today. There's a lot of things that have completely gone by the wayside. Like the first station I worked at, we played records, the actual physical records.
Yeah.
If we had long-form programs that weren't music, we had reel-to-reel tapes. So we had two big reel-to-reel machines. And so when we had the 15-minute interview show sponsored by the Italian restaurant called The Grapevine, which I thought was a great name for a interview show, The Grapevine, sponsored by the Italian restaurant.
That's cool.
It was on a reel-to-reel tape. We had the reel-to-reel tapes. When we wanted to play commercials, we had a tape cartridge, and we had one tape cartridge for each commercial or client that we played. So like just now, we played Tate Branch, Faith Baptist, Artesia General Hospital, Deans, and United Way. So I'd have to have 5 tape cartridges, one for each one of those commercials, stacked up in the machine, ready to go. And now it's all,
my goodness.
On the computer. We had a written log. The traffic manager, Tana, of the day, had to have a log, and for each hour of the day had to hand write the commercials that were to play within that hour for the day.
And now you have tons and tons of cables.
And then we had the printed log, and then so as we played them, we had to write the times that we played them on there. Now it's all done in the computer. Tana hits a button, schedules the log. She hits send. Mike goes through to make sure everything's in there. I play it, and then when she goes to reconcile her log with what actually played, she hits a button, sucks it in. And so when we send a client a bill that says that your commercial played at 9:47:14, it's because it played at 9:47:14.
And there you have it, folks.
And now we're doing video. So that's what that's what I was talking with Jeffrey about, is just how much video gear, how involved do I want to take the video gear to Portales today? It's going to be windy. It's going to be, not super hot, but it's going to be windy today, and they don't have a press box like we have here. They have a wooden box. And,
wow.
And so they'll probably have a guy standing there with a karaoke speaker right in Joby's ear.
That's awesome. My granddaughter, I finally let her, she's about to be 14. I finally let her go into her papa's room, and he was a music man, albums and albums and albums. I don't even know how many, but there's a lot, a whole lot. Anyway, she found the cassette tapes.
Okay.
And she comes in with this box, and she sits down, and she's looking at it and turning it how does it work?
Yeah.
If we put it in this over here, will it work? No, you can't do that. Well, what does it go in? And I thought, of all the times to have a cassette player, now would be the perfect time so she could understand this little. And she says, this tape makes music?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was one of those that he had made, so there were a lot of old songs on there.
Oh, wow.
And she said, all of this music is on this one little tape? Yeah, it's all there. And she just keeps looking at me like, do something, Mimi. Just do something. Help me. I don't understand this.
Well, you could say that that's your grandfather, right?
No, it was my husband.
Your husband, but yes, it's her
grandfather.
Her grandfather. Yeah. This is your grandfather's playlist. That's his mixtape.
I didn't even think about that. I said, oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's a good old-fashioned playlist.
I would say that he probably has 600 or 700 albums.
Oh,
at
wow.
least.
Quite a collection.
Yes,
Yeah.
long time collection. And I had a lot of music when we got married, but we had two different mindsets of what was music. I was the Pink Floyd,
Oh, really?
Ventures kind of person, and he was the country and western person. Of course, I was raised with country and western music,
Yeah.
so I love it. He never cared anything for my music
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Well, you
just
probably-
leave it in the stack, honey. Just leave it right where I put it.
Well, you probably remember Pink Floyd had an album called Animals,
Yes.
and one of them was called Dogs, right? And there's a scene in WKRP in Cincinnati where Johnny Fever, the DJ, and he's looks like he's asleep. And the song that's playing is Dogs by Pink Floyd. And so the boss, the big guy, comes in, and he's listening to the music, and he's looking at it, and he says, do I hear dogs barking? And Johnny goes, I do.
Oh my.
But Pink Floyd was one of those groups that
Yeah.
you had to be in a certain mindset to...
And I'm not in that mindset anymore.
No, as anything, we're kind of encouraging people not to be in that mindset,
Yes.
especially when it comes to driving around and stuff
Yes.
like that. So
Yes.
that's just one of those funny lines that sticks in my mind from that TV show. Do I hear dogs barking? I do.
I do. Well, a lot of people saw the world in different colors back then.
That's
so
right.
it was,
That's right. Look
a
at anything
different
that the Beatles did after, 64, 65 or something like that. Yellow Submarine, Sgt. Pepper,
yeah.
Magical Musical Mystery Tour.
I listen to some of that now. My granddaughter likes to listen to 60s music.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to it, and I thought I liked that song, but it's not exactly saying what I thought it said.
I know.
It was not good.
Yeah. No,
But it
that's
is
true.
what it is.
That's true. Well, what the DWI task force, primarily we've talked a lot about alcohol, driving
Yes.
under the influence of alcohol. What have you learned? What have they kind of presented with you now that we have legalized recreational marijuana in the state of New Mexico? Have they added to or given you some more information on?
You know, the state of New Mexico, and I imagine this is the way it is with all governments, they make up rules and laws before they figure out what they're doing wrong, and then they can't undo what they've done. It's not easy to find someone if they've been smoking pot, for instance, unless they are so high that they're hearing dogs that aren't there.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then doing the testing and all of that kind of stuff to catch them to doing the drugs is much more difficult than. And if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. But than just the alcohol, because you have the smell. Of course, you open a car door and somebody's been smoking pot in there. You can certainly smell that, but it's legal, but it's not legal to smoke it and drive. It's just not. And I'm not sure that they thought that through very well.
Yeah. So it's
Right.
creating another set of
whole-
deals. What have you learned as far as the effects on people? Like I was talking to a gentleman last week who used to be in the Mounted Patrol.
Uh-huh.
So he used to help sheriff's departments and police departments, traffic stops and things like that. And one of his observations was that alcohol removes inhibitions and enhances anger or
Yes.
other
It's a
things.
depressant.
Right. What is on the marijuana side? Is it a similar reaction that people have to it, or is it a different reaction that people have to it?
It's a chilled out thing.
Okay.
I remember talking to one of our police officers here, and he said, I'd rather stop somebody that's been smoking pot all day than I would somebody drinking any day. He said, because they're so chilled out and they're so happy and they're just flopping around, and you can get them in jail and do whatever you need to do, where somebody that's drunk is, like you just said, very aggressive and sometimes downright mean.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, we're talking about marijuana only here, The other drugs are a whole different story.
Right.
And of course, we don't want to see anybody, high on meth behind the wheel of a car any more than we do someone that's drunk.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just one of those things. This past week has been kind of interesting. I've talked to a few different people, and they just talking, ask me what I do and stuff. And I've had probably 4 different people say, "Oh, yeah, my son was killed in a DWI in 1997." And I was thinking, wow, that would be about the same age as my son. And she was telling me all about it. And then the 2 young ladies that was killed in Texas, and all of these that's going on right now. And it seems like every time I open up Facebook, someone else has been killed because of a DWI.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking of all the ways a person can die, cancer, heart attacks, all this kind of stuff, the most preventable death is one that's caused by a drunk driver. So what's the message that we can send out there that will penetrate everybody's brains before they even pick up the first bottle or first can of beer or whatever? What's the message that's strong enough and deep enough? And we were talking about that for our new stickers, just putting on there, do you want to take somebody's life today?
Yeah.
Drink this.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Get in a car and start drinking when you're drunk. And I know that's the message for the stickers is more about the MIPs like we talked about before, but...
The minors in possession.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start saying that out.
No, that's okay. Some people may not know.
Yeah.
I knew, but yeah.
But how do we get it across to people? What's going on? And right now with everything else that's going on, the folks that like to drink to get out of it for that amount of time has increased tremendously.
Yeah.
So, and all we have to do is go into any convenience store, and what do we see? Go into Walmart, what do we see? Go into Finn's, what do we see? And in Finn's, I'm seeing more and more stacks of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, and very rarely do we see a packaged good with an old sticker on it. So that stuff's going out the door.
Yeah.
Going out the door. Which, if you stay at home, that's your business. But the second that you get in that car, you make it my business.
When you're under the influence. And we've got prom coming up this weekend, and then of course graduation coming up at the end of May, and too many tragedies take place during those times.
And how do we, I hope that the schools are really pushing that, stay away from that stuff. If somebody's having a party, I hope these are underage kids. We talked about this last time.
Right.
These are underage kids. Leave the alcohol at the store.
Mm-hmm.
There is a way to have fun without it. In
That's
fact, from what we were just talking about, alcohol is a depressant. Depression is not fun. And you get angry and you have fights and all this stuff is going on, and then somebody drives home and has an accident or has a wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not accidents, those are wrecks.
Wrecks, yeah.
So, come on, people. Come on, parents. Come on, adults. If you're planning a party, leave the alcohol and the drugs out of it. And I know that there's probably a lot of people, because I've heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who does that? Who does that?
Happens way more often than you think.
Way more often.
Yeah.
And and you think, to me, it's, okay, you're an adult. Take responsibility for your actions, because you are responsible for each and every one of those kids that are invited to your party. And to top it all off, if that kid, not only what if they walk out and get themselves killed, but what if they get caught with a DWI?
Mm-hmm.
What's that going to do for them? What have you just done? Maybe that's the best way to put it. What have you done to these children?
Yep.
That's child abuse. Can't make it that way. I mean, the law won't see it that way, but it is child abuse. It is giving kids any kind of drugs, alcohol, is just kind of poisoning their little brains. So can you just please stop it, people?
That's right.
Just
that's right.
stop.
Keep the alcohol at the store. I like
Keep
that.
the alcohol at the store.
If the kids are having parties or you're hosting a party or something where young people are going to be around.
And if you have it at home, that's part of your lifestyle, make sure that the kids can't get to it.
There you go. Folks need to get a hold of you, ask questions, or need help with programs, things like that. How they do that?
Just call me at 575-703-0012. And this is